I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Ben Dow. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
We're doing great. Happy to be here, and another day to be alive is great.
Hey, you better believe that. What part of the world are you in right now?
I live in St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah. How about you?
I'm in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad being the island I am on, but it's a twin island, so it's
Yeah.
Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You live in paradise. That's great.
You could. That's a second name for it. So tell me, Ben, which of your talents that you've been operating in is responsible for us connecting at this point in life?
Podcasting.
Yeah.
Podcasting. My dream is to have a podcast, and I definitely love it. I've learned so much from it. So I wanted to have my own podcast to be more creative, and yeah, I just was able to launch my podcast just a couple days ago and finally get it up on iTunes and publish it. And
Sweet.
it took me over 6 months from decision to get it launched.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a great process, and yeah, I'm definitely loving it.
What's the name of the podcast?
It's called the Big Time Dreams Podcast. I'm trying to interview people that really love their jobs, really passionate about their jobs, are very successful at their jobs, and just want to see the difference of what makes people happy at their jobs or careers or even just life. So yeah, not a lot of people. Most people just grind through life, 9 to 5, working, don't know, what they really, really want to do. And so I'm just saying, interview the people that really are good at it and are really passionate about it.
Yeah. Well, I got to listen to your podcast, and it's pretty amazing. Like, I'm glad that you finally launched. It's great. Like, you interviewed a woman that is a singer, but she also cleans. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you listen to it?
Through iTunes.
How did you? Okay. Did you find it through me, or like how did you looked it up, or?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I looked it up because you were coming on, so I checked out your podcast.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I didn't even know. See, I didn't even know everything was all like you could search me. I mean, I know you could search me, but I didn't know.
He's excited, amazing audience.
Yeah.
Can you hear it? He's excited.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a start for me, and I just want to meet new people and basically open up my circle a little bit. So yeah, I'm just trying my best to get things out there and do stuff from the heart.
Yeah, I'll definitely drop a review in there. Again, it was really great. What you're doing is great. I love I couldn't tell you were just starting. It felt really good. Even the music at the end, right? Like you dropped her music, right?
Yeah. It was her music at the end. My music is just part of the intro a little bit. So it's yeah.
Which was good. So you produced that music at the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was good. Wow. Oh, so I didn't know you had a music background as well.
Yeah, well, I did like hip hop, and I do like it to express myself. And I always wanted to have like a CD out there before, but it never happened. I didn't want to sink all my money into it. So this is kind of a way to go for my big time dreams and put it on the podcast. And the good thing about podcasts is you can do whatever you want. It's my show, so
There we go.
I like it.
That's great. So, who did you learn the skill of? Should we do the music side of what you're doing, the production side, or just the conversation side? Who did you learn those skills from?
It's just no one. As far as the podcasting, I haven't really learned from anybody. I'm just trying to take action and do everything myself, kind of learn on the go. I guess I listen to other podcasts and I see people being interviewed, and I just try to do the best I can. So it's just a lot of work and practice and putting myself out there, and it's just the whole learning journey. And I didn't really learn from anybody, just all my knowledge kind of put together, trying to do what I can.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Have you decided why you will continue now that you've started? I mean, it's taken 6 months, right? But you've started. Why will you continue to repeat the skills of podcasting?
Well, the good thing about podcasting supposedly is after you set it up, then after you just publish it, then hopefully it's a lot easier just to publish episodes. You know,
Yeah, I love how you're answering and asking, and it's as though you're questioning yourself at the same time.
Yeah, because that's what they say, right? I've only published one thing.
Yeah,
So setting up the podcast was, was a long thing. Learning how to edit stuff, getting people on the podcast. It's harder, but they say after that, after you publish episodes, you can just upload it, and the RSS feed gets updated, and people can subscribe. So that's what I'm hoping for. Just having it up and running, and just add podcasts.
yeah, sounds great. Sounds great. Tell me one other thing, Ben, you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
What I've done consistently in my own time, my personal time, is I've bought houses. I've been buying houses consistently for the last few years, and that has set me on a path where I am out of the rat race pretty much. And so I was working a full-time job, buying houses on the side, just consistently doing that. And it's a lot of work to deal with tenants and fixing up stuff and construction. But I've done that consistently for the last 3 years, and I was able to quit my job 9 to 5 earlier this year, and that's the reason why I can do a podcast now is because I was able to basically get out the rat race by buying rental properties.
How does that make you feel?
It's a great sense of accomplishment. It was always my dream job. So big time dreams. That was my big time dreams. My whole life was just to be self-employed, full time a real estate investor, and basically 7 years doing that, and now I'm being able to finally quit my job is my big time dream.
Why would you suggest someone that's listening do that? Put in the steps that are necessary to fulfill their dream over time.
It's worth it. It's worth it. You only have one life, so I say go for it. Go big and consistent action. It doesn't happen overnight, so just keep doing it. Don't give up, and just keep. If you have a dream, and like let's say you want to be a singer, then try to make a song every week, or try to work on your skills, try to collaborate with other people, and keep doing that for weeks and weeks and months and years, and then you'll start gaining momentum and get to where you want to be.
Love it. Amazing audience. We are live with Ben Dow. He is the podcast host of the newly launched podcast, the Big Time Dreams podcast. Do check that out. Amazing stuff going on there. Ben, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Ben, what is your earliest childhood memory?
That's a great question. Actually, my earliest childhood memory was a sad one. When I was 7 years old, I remember my parents getting divorced. So that was a traumatic time, and so it was my earliest child memory. I was about 7 years old, but I made the decision at that point, like, hey, I got to be the man of the house. I'm the oldest. I got to be successful. I got to do what it takes to be successful. So even though that was a traumatic time, it probably fed me the hunger to strive to succeed.
Why do you think this memory of all your memories are so clear?
I think it was just the most traumatic time that I remember in my childhood. It was like a big event, and it set the stage for the rest of my life. After that, my dad wasn't really there, so I think that's why I remember it so much.
Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of what disconnect means in your life and how it sets you up for success. You said that in order to do the podcast, you needed to disconnect from your day job, if you would. Not that you did disconnect from your day job for the podcast. Of course, you did that with your business where you're buying houses. Mm-hmm. But it's just intriguing how growth occurs in your life through divorce, if you would. So for the initial stages, it was the divorce of your parents, and I'm guessing that happened for the best, right? Because you are here right now, right? So it's definitely something that happened for the best for both parties, I guess. Definitely the pain was there, but now you being the guy that's divorcing your 9-to-5 job, like being intentional now, like not letting that happen to you, but deciding that you're going to happen to your life. It's intriguing how these things connect.
Yes.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
I'm glad you really asked this song, asked this question. Because I looked it up, because I was like, I basically looked up all the songs from that year, right. 1993, and hip hop hooray, oh, hey. Hey ho, hip hop hooray! That's the one right there. Do you know that song?
I do.
So that's the one.
Very cool. Well, it's amazing that what you're doing, right? Like in the hip hop world, even though the intro it's your music, right? It was a really mad beat, right? A mad beat in the beginning there. So hip hop definitely surrounds your life, doesn't it?
It does, and it's probably not as much now as more younger. But yeah, growing up, for me it was all hip hop and R&B, and I have good memories of it, and that's why I wanted to make that a part of the Big Time Dreams podcast, and that's my mantra. Like my album was going to be called Big Time Dreams, and now I walk around, I say Big Time Dreams, just to kind of hype me up, and yeah, and it's kind of that hip hop too, like the anthem.
I love it. Well, my friend, we have arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Ben, are you ready?
Yeah.
Ben, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I have not at this time. I'm, just working and trying to build my business and podcasts. And I don't have a little mentor grasshopper yet. I do have a son and a daughter, but they're young, so I haven't quite been able to mentor someone like that.
All right. Are you married?
Yes, I'm married. Been married for about 7 years to my wife, Lee. We love it. I love being.
And you said you have 2 children, boy and girl, right?
Yes, one's 6 and one is 4.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Fun at your house.
I love it. I love it.
Do you believe in God?
I do believe in God. I am a Christian, and I believe in Jesus. I go to church, and it's helped me a lot just to stay grounded with God. I grew up in the area that I lived in before. I didn't have a lot of like Christian friends, and and we party a lot. But ever since I moved to St. Louis, or before that, I've just been a little bit more grounded in God, and it's totally made me a better person.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I would say probably not. I'm out here. When I moved out to St. Louis, I just was focusing on my family, my wife, and my family and my kids. And I do have friends and acquaintances, but an inner circle of friends, I would say no.
All right. What about TV? Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Probably not. I don't watch. I watch a lot of sports.
Right.
I watch a lot of sports. I'm a huge basketball fan, but I don't watch more than 3 hours a day.
Probably 3 hours a week is more accurate.
Probably 1 or 2 a day.
Okay, so like 14 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
What about screen time? The phone and the computer, is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
I don't work in a cubicle job anymore, so I am not on the computer 8 hours a day.
He's free.
Yeah.
He's free.
Thank goodness. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a real estate investor, like a landlord, property manager. So I'm out in the streets, driving a lot more now than I was, and dealing with tenants, trying to fix things up, and dealing with contractors. So luckily for me, I think it's luckily for me, I'm not at a screen 8 hours.
That's great. Well, Ben, after 1,001 conversations in 3 months, I came up with this workbook, a self-discovery workbook, with the idea of, hey, you go through these questions and identify your mission, your own unique real statement. So the name of the book is Your Own Unique Real Self. If you had to share with us, Ben, your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who Ben Dow is, what would you say that is?
I would say big time dreams.
Yeah.
Like everybody thinks I'm a dreamer, and like I'm in the clouds, but you dream big. You dream big. You go for your big time dreams. I always want to be a real estate investor and have a family and have a good marriage and be somewhere financially. And some people think it's crazy, and a lot of people that I know, friends, they just working through life. They're good people working through life and not really knowing, not really that passionate. So big time dreams is about going for your dreams passionately and stay focused on that and never quit.
Wonderful.
So that's what I would say.
Well, Ben, do you have a middle name?
I do.
Okay.
It's King or Kin, K-I-N-H.
Okay.
Kin.
Okay. Cool. All right. I mean, if it started with T, then game over, right? Because it would have been BTD, and then Big Time Dreams would have fit there perfectly, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Well, Ben, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I would just like to say that it's a great thing that you're doing, and it seems like you're really hustling hard to make it big. So I really appreciate you asking me to be on it. And everybody else out there, I would say, don't give up on your dreams. keep going for it. You only have one life, so let's do it big time.
Love it. Ben Adow, thank you, my friend, for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.